My name is Alec Jernstedt. I'm the head men's lacrosse coach at Grove City College. I've been involved with FCA lacrosse for a number of years now, and this is my story. I actually grew up in outside of Portland, Oregon on the West Coast. I remember I was a young kid. I must have been elementary school, and my dad came home with these two sticks, and we were like, what are these? And he had been driving home from work or somewhere and saw these kids playing lacrosse on a field and had no idea what it was. So he stopped and he pulled over and was watching them practice. And then after the practice, he approached the coach and was like, what is this, basically? And the guy was like, oh, this is lacrosse. And they were talking for a little bit, and he sold him two sticks out of the trunk of his car. So my dad came home with these sticks, and I'm in second grade. What are we supposed to do with these? So we would throw around every once in a while, but there was no team that went down to my age group. So they just kind of sat in the garage, and every once in a while we'd take them out. But so eventually I got into sixth grade, and my dad was like, hey, you can play lacrosse now. And I was like, well, I'm not sure I really want to do that. I played a number of other sports, and he's like, let's just try it out, and I said, okay. So that was the first year that I ever played lacrosse, was sixth grade, and that's how I got into it. So it was pretty new in the area that I lived, and fell in love with it at that point. And like I said, I played basketball, soccer, golf, football, tennis, all kinds of stuff. But really, I knew lacrosse was kind of for me, just a combination of everything. So growing up as a kid, my family, we went to church. We were involved in all that kind of stuff, and I think that I understood all that. I knew and I believed in God. I believed in Jesus as who He said He was, but I would say I wasn't a follower of Jesus. And so, as I transitioned from high school into college, I just thought I'd be lucky to go to play club lacrosse on the West Coast, and we went to the same tournament every year. And after the tournament, 8 a.m., coach from Towson University calls me and, hey, we got one spot left in our class. We'd like you to come. And I remember hanging up, and my dad was like, who's that? I said, it's the Towson coach. And he said, where's that? I said, I don't know. And he just said, talked as if I should know what it was. And it was a big deal, but for me, it still just kind of, I really had no clue. So I ended up going to Towson, and it was really even on my recruiting trip that I got a taste of what college lacrosse is in most cases, and some of the stuff that goes on. And it was really difficult for me as a high school student with not a lot of community or relationships to transition into that lifestyle and stay out of it. And so I got to college, and that was me. I was a typical college lacrosse guy, up late when I shouldn't have been, doing stuff I shouldn't have been doing on a Saturday night, waking up next to somebody I didn't know, and ultimately feeling really empty, feeling really guilty, feeling like I had violated some part of my conscience, but just without the kind of wherewithal and understanding to not do it again the next day. And so I went through my whole freshman year like that. I liked where I was at, but I was really struggling with who I was and what I was doing and what I stood for. And so I came home that summer. I started going to church again with some of my friends from high school, and got a little more connected with my faith, and was like, hey, this is it. I'm going to go back to school. I'm not going to do all the stuff that I've been doing. I just, this is me. This is who I am when I'm home. And so I want to be that when I go to school. So sure enough, I go back for my sophomore year, and after about 2 weeks, I'm right back into the same kind of lifestyle that I was. And again, I wasn't involved in any community. I wasn't involved with any kind of ministry on campus. I wasn't doing anything else other than going to school, going to practice, and hanging with the guys. And it just led me down a path that I didn't want to be going down. And so towards the end of my sophomore year, there was a ministry group on campus, and in particular, one guy that kind of led that group was really faithful and kind of pursuing me and inviting me and kind of, hey, you coming tonight? And even when I didn't necessarily feel like it, I would go, and really felt good about that, and was starting to kind of build some community and some relationships on campus at Towson. And towards the end of it, he says, hey, you got to sign up for this camp this summer. And I'm thinking all right, I went to Christian camp when I was a kid. Like I'm grown now. I'm a college kid, and I'm thinking like summer camp just isn't for me. But he was persistent. And he's like, you got to go to this deal. It's in Colorado. You got to go check it out. And so I ended up going. It's called the Ultimate Training Camp, and I spent a week there learning about how to connect my faith and my athletics, and really most importantly though, like how to just live more committed to being not just a believer in God, but a follower of God, and not just a believer in Jesus Christ, but a follower of Jesus Christ. And so I would say I rededicated my life to Christ during that week, and that was where like my faith walk became something that was much more personal, and much more something that was like not just in my head, but also like in my heart, and something that I was more committed to. So my last 2 years at Towson, I had a blast. I think I was able to be who I wanted to be, still be able to engage with my teammates, still have their respect, but also be able to live into my faith more, share that more, just be more confident in who I was, and who Christ had made me to be, and who had called me to be, and how he called me to live. So during that time as a lacrosse player, I was okay. I wasn't great. I always had some role on the team, at least as an upperclassman for sure. And what I really struggled with was just being super competitive, and because of my competitiveness, I would kind of lose who I was on the field at times, and also just the opinions of others, especially like coaches and stuff. Like if they weren't for me, it was really upsetting to me. I think some people kind of get within themselves, or some people just shut off. Like I just got angry, and that's, again, anger is not something that like I think Jesus called us to, and certainly not as a healthy motivation to play. And so, as I reconnected with my faith, I started to understand sport as an act of worship, as an opportunity to like connect with God, as an opportunity to please God, as an opportunity to kind of give back to him what he's given to us and our gifts and our abilities. And that was extremely freeing for me. I went from kind of being a slave to like winning and losing, and a slave to like wanting to perform at a certain level, and a slave to wanting to prove something to somebody all the time, to just being able to walk out on the field and say, God, like, this is awesome. Thanks so much for bringing me here. I don't know how, from Portland, Oregon to Baltimore, Maryland, like from 0 college offers to 1 opportunity to play collegiate lacrosse. I don't know how the only way that I could have got here was you. And so on this next rep, like, I'm just gonna have fun and enjoy this, and this is for you, basically. And that was so helpful as a player, and then even as I transitioned from college to life, I've been able to kind of carry that with me, and understand that, like, in my marriage and my relationships with my kids, as a coach now, I don't have to be in control of everything, and I don't have to perform to a certain level to know that God loves me, that he's directing my steps, and that he ultimately has a good plan for me, even when things are not good, that good will come out of it, and I can trust in that. And so all I have to do is kind of live into doing the best that I can do, and again, just trying to walk in the way that he's called me to walk, and I trust that he'll take care of the rest. And so now, as a coach at Grove City, I think that's something that I really try and instill in our program and in our guys, and we have awesome guys on the team, but they're going through that same process. And so for me, it's about trying to come alongside them and show them that lacrosse is awesome, and winning is great, and it's important, and it's fun, but it's not what defines you, and your identity is in something much bigger than that. And so it's okay to work hard at something. It's okay to be committed to something. It doesn't mean that it doesn't matter, but ultimately there's just something bigger that we should be focused on besides just kind of what we're doing on a day-to-day basis on the field. And so, and even as a coach, I have to kind of remind myself of that. It's easy to get sucked into, we should have won that game, or could have won this game, or we got this recruit, or we didn't, and what's going to happen next. And I just have to, go back to, like, God is in control of this. God is good, and I'm just playing my part here, and he has a good plan for myself and for our guys and for our program as a whole. So, if you're still watching, I appreciate it. It means a lot, and I think I would just encourage you that not to just know that God is real, but to try and learn to understand what it means to follow Him, to be a follower of Jesus. And when you're able to do that, I think it's going to give you peace that you never had before, just as you walk through life. So.